ladies and gentlemen. This is Frank Prattle here on whatever radio station we're broadcasting out of today, Neighborhood Public Radio.
So anyway, like we were saying, we teach these workshops, teach a few basic techniques, and then you can go back and use your imagination to expand upon that. It doesn't. The nice thing about rope bondages is that it doesn't take much effort or skill to learn how to tie a piece confidently and safely. You just have to know a few basic techniques, and we try to demystify that. And that's what our whole mission is, to demystify what some people think is just this outrageous, kinky, difficult, dangerous thing.
Because people, I mean, they go online and they fantasize on these websites. They go, wow, yeah, look at those skillful ties. Look at those women, or men for that matter, inescapably bound and exposed. It's hot. And so you say, how can I do that? We show you how to do it. We've been called in the past the Penn and Teller of rope bondage. Sort of like Penn and Teller will reveal to you all the secrets of...
Because I never get to talk.
Yeah, no, exactly. All the secrets of magic. We try to show you all the secrets of rope bondage and how you too can look cool in the presence of your partner. But yeah, I just dig doing it. We've been doing it now so long, and I'm really amazed at how long we've been able to maintain sort of a fan base. And the people just keep coming to the workshops. We just keep getting more and more jazzed up. We have a book coming out at the end of the year called Knotty Boys Showing You the Ropes, published by Green Candy Press. And that'll be selling pretty much across the nation in bookstores all across. Everything from what we understand, it should be in Borders, and Good Vibes will probably carry it, and we'll have it pretty accessible.
Yeah, so that's just expanding, trying to ease it out, because when we first started learning bondage, the only resources you could go to were like the Ashley Book of Knots, which is this huge, thick encyclopedia of knots, and most of them are used for sailing and mountaineering and that sort of thing. And it takes a great leap of imagination to try to get a knot that can go around a marlin spike to look good around a person's wrist without hurting them. And we try to eliminate that guesswork in the middle by saying, okay, here's the knot and how you put it on a person, and just simplify it.
Did they just beep Marlin Spike? I don't think you can say that on the radio.
Oh, okay.
I think they just beep.
I better not say.
Fucking straight about it.
Oh, really? You can say what you like.
Okay. Well, I got a sheep yank here.
I know.
For you.
But the other thing to add about knot books is that a lot of times people say, well, I'm really good at knots. I work on a boat, and so I know how to tie up women, or I know how to tie up men, because darn it, I know my sliding sheep shank, and I know how to do a square knot and stuff. But the realities are that we're not posts and poles, and you don't have to batten down the hatches when things get a little weird. Effectively, people have their own shapes, their own dynamics, sensitivities, nerves, arms, extremities. A pole doesn't have to worry about circulation loss. In a human being, you do.
That's definitely one thing that I wanted to ask you guys about. I know that for myself, when I'm definitely a beginner with bondage, what have you, and I attended your workshop, and it kicked ass. It was amazing.
Appreciate that.
It not only made me feel comfortable about doing bondage, but definitely had me more intrigued as well. But one of the things that you had talked about, and I'd like you to share with the audience as well, is there is the risk that if you do this incorrectly, that you can, obviously hurt somebody.
Yeah.
So, how do you deal with that? What are the risks?
The biggest risk, of course, is circulation loss or pressure on the nerve, which causes either damage to the nerve or blood loss to it, which can eventually cause the nerve to die. And you don't want to die. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, right? Just enough to scare you, sort of like eating fugu. But the point of safety in bondage is making sure that you have awareness of your partner and that your partner has permission to inform you in the event that they're suffering a circulation loss. And if they do, that you have a way out, that either untie them quickly or have a pair of safety scissors around to cut them out, because stuff can go bad very quickly. But the fact is, we teach ways where you don't have to tie tightly in order to tie effectively.
The thing is, back to the beginning, we were talking about people who compensate for lack of knowledge by tying tighter. Like, for example, you could cut off circulation on any part of your body. If your hat's on your head too tight, you can cut off circulation to the top of your head. If your shoes are on too tight, your foot will go down. Same thing goes for...
What about your tie?
Your tie, that could happen as well.
My tie goes numb all the time.
But the point
Witnessed across America.
The point being is, like, things can be on your person. Like my wristwatch, I can swing my wrist as hard as I'd like, and my wristwatch will not fly off my arm. But it does stay on my arm. And ties, if tied correctly and tied skillfully, are restraining, but they don't necessarily need to cut off circulation. We have a 2-finger rule, which if you can slide 2 fingers underneath the bindings, you're pretty good to go for the most part. You don't want to tie it too tight. It's just a lack of, when you see that, it's really a lack of knowledge. Because like Dan was saying earlier, very skillfully, so is that to tie well, you don't have to take as much any more time than to tie poorly. It's just, you just need to know a few simple maneuvers, a few simple facts about rope bondage on people, as opposed to just knowing about knots in general.
Square knots are for squares.
Yeah.
That's our motto, as of today.
Speaking of which, though, one of my favorite things is listening to people talk about all the different names. So if you wouldn't mind, like, sharing some of the names, the different names of ties. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely
we could do like a drinking game. We have sodas and stuff. You want to?
Yeah,
I'll say one, then you say one.
Okay.
All right. All right. I'm just going with the.
I'll just drink for everyone.
Tortoise shell.
Oh, lark's head.
No. A tie for a human, like a bondage tie.
Oh, a dragonfly sleeve.
Okay. Samurai tie.
Basic wrist wrap.
Okay.
Ooh, low blow.
Let's see. CBT tie. No, drink. No, basically.
This is fun.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different schools of rope bondage. Like there's the school of shibari. There's a school of, we teach fusion bondage. I'll just give you a little background. The origins of rope bondage, shibari style bondage. Sometimes people refer to it as Takeshi style bondage as well, but shibari goes back to 18th century and beyond and before.
Ding ding ding.
What's
I'm just doing music club.
Oh, he's doing like music background. Basically, it was a form of a restraint in the battlefield. Originally, you have persons who are captured in Japanese battlefields, and they were actually tied in accordance to their rank. Many of these ties were torturous ties that were used to both punish them and to evoke information from them. Also, concubines that were as part of various royal houses who were incompliant would be tied in such a way that their breasts would be exposed or maybe bulging with blood and fluids, because they were tied in such a way to cut off circulation and kind of pool blood and make them extra sensitive, sent off into a room with their arms tied behind their backs, their breasts exposed, so that they would be fondled and expressed at the whim and desire of the people around them. Or they would be tied in such a way to punish them for not being compliant.
Can I use that line, by the way, fondled at the whim?
At the whim, oh yeah. And then that developed into a presentational type of ties.
Fast forward to Betty Page and Irving
Yeah,
Law.
exactly. And then you got like your basic hand over wrist ties and basic bondage fantasies of the camera clubs that Irving Claw put together on the East Coast. Bunny Yeager popularized Betty Page, of course, in the pages of Playboy. This whole mythology and iconography developed into fetish desire within the mostly American and Western cultures, who started, exploring this in their own homes, exploring this with their own fantasies.
What
No, I was going to say fantasies. Oh God. No, but anyway, and then so we teach a
style
style
that ties together cries
that's
together.
neither shibari and neither basic American Irving Claw type style. It's a fusion style, and we incorporate knots from all around the world, both Celtic knots and Japanese knots, all really focused on the physics of the human body. Our suspensions are based on pivoting off the hips as opposed to lifting someone from the chest like as if they were a 2x4. Mm-hmm. We lift them in a way that pivots their body in a very comfortable and natural way, working with their centers of gravity and always implementing communication, safety, and skill.